Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. So we're on the VN server where NERION is now out on raid up recruitment. We're going to go through his full skill information and speculate a bit as to maybe his usage in some game modes. NERION, he has a very cool design, kind of like a merman. He is going to be a Graveborn marksman, A level. Range of 7 magic damage dealer. Drowning Doom is his ultimate. He begins with 400 pre-fill energy, which is not bad. Passive, when an enemy has been under control effects for 6 seconds. Okay, so the drowning effect is going to be triggered if they're under control effects for 6 seconds, which isn't too long, thankfully. They take pretty decent damage and are afflicted with drowning. NERION will deal 30% more damage to drowning enemies, and both effects last until the end of the battle. This passive effect takes only 4 seconds to trigger on enemies that deal magic damage. So we talked about this in his skill trailer. He has something against magic damage dealing heroes. He calls them to drown faster. 4 seconds rather than 6 seconds. And the active NERION empowers himself with the Force of the Tide for 12 seconds. While the effects last, his attack and attack speed are increased by 22% attack and 60 attack speed, and his normal attacks gain the deluge effect. When a normal attack hits, it bounces between drowning enemies, dealing 220% attack multiplier extra damage. Each unit can be hit by the bounce up to 1 time, and it will go up to 300% and increasing NERION's attack to 30%. So basically what you can see here is from his ultimate, he's a damage dealer. He's going to be balancing damage, 300% attack multiplier onto all drowning enemies. And that's going to be with each of his normal attacks. And he has boosted attack speed. And you know, if you have other attack speed boosters in the team, it could be even higher. And then a 30% attack increase after casting ultimate for 12 seconds. So the first area people are thinking NERION could be good in is AFK stages. And I can kind of see that. A lot of AFK stages, you're definitely going to have crowd control in your team. Whether it be Sylvan, whether it be Theodore, whatever you're running. And so you're easily going to trigger this drowning effect. And then you are going to just be dealing pretty decent damage. But the problem is, this is not true damage. This is not HP loss damage. This is just regular damage. And when you look at AFK stages, the heroes needed do have true damage or HP loss damage. They have Sylvan, he has true damage, and he's usually not even the biggest damage dealer. Faramore has true damage and a massive coming from the whole team. You have the Saida, who's HP loss damage. Like, if you do not have Bailran, he has true damage and HP loss damage. If you don't have those types of damage, how are you actually going to deal enough damage? Even though this is pretty nice multipliers, it's just regular damage. So that's my issue. I don't know if the damage is actually going to be there for AFK stages. For PvP, the damage definitely would be there, but the problem is you have to crowd control them for a duration before he gets this effect. And like in PvP, there are a lot of unaffected enemies who are not going to be controllable, and even if they are controllable, you have to have them controlled for 4 seconds plus, and in that period of time, you know, they may begin eliminating your team, or even NERION. So that's what I worry about for PvP. Okay, Tidal Rebuke is his skill 2. This is on a 0. Okay, this is just based on his normal attack. So this again scales with the concept that he is going to be an attack speed, basically damage dealer. Every 3 normal attacks, his next normal attack becomes enhanced, and upon it hitting a target, it will knock the target back 1 tile, deal damage, and stun them for 2 seconds. So a bit of crowd control. Empowered damage definitely scales with attack speed. So heroes really you're looking at who scale with attack speed, it is NERION, it is Sylvan. And like for AFK stages, I can definitely see a comp of NERION, Sylvan, and like the twins. The twins haste buff, by the way, it gives you that however much haste, which is 60%. It gives you or 60 haste. It gives you also 60% attack speed. With that effect, basically 60 more attack speed. Because haste is basically equivalent to attack speed, but also it has skill cooldown within it. That is the definition of haste. So yeah, I mean, interesting, but it's only single target crowd control. Now this one is going to be a bit of AoE crowd control. Riptide Wrath. This is a 12-second cooldown, initial cooldown of 1. But if you have enough haste buffing him in the team, it can be down to a lower cooldown. So again, twins come to mind. NERION throws a spear at the area with the most enemies upon hitting the target tile. The spear deals up to 200% damage. And to all enemies within 1 tile. 2 seconds later, a raging current will erupt, knocking all enemies within the same area into the air and dealing 300% damage. Now, so basically, this is going to be on one specific tile. the target tile, and then it will hit adjacent enemies as well with this Raging Current knockup 2 seconds later. So this is similar to Lucy's knockup skill, if you guys know Lucy. Otherwise, yeah, it's just basically a knockup skill in like kind of a confined area. But if you're like already grouping them with like a Mihira, and then Sylvan's knocking them up, or sorry, Sylvan's knocking them down, NERION's knocking them up, basically just more crowd control. So yeah, that, and for AFK stages, decent if you can group the enemies, but like, this is not enough for chain CC. You're going to need another form of CC in the team, of course, which is probably understood because he needs to, you know, crowd control enemies from the beginning to get his drowning effect. Okay, hero focus, attack speed increased by 33 during battle. He scales off of attack speed with both his deluge damage on drowning enemies and then the Tidal Rebuke. Okay, now his exclusive skill, Abyssal Embrace. When a battle starts, NERION applies a drowning effect to the rearmost enemy. Drowning enemies have their attack and haste reduced by, okay, so it's pretty decent debuff. This is one thing I was watching out for, because if the debuff is high enough, I was thinking maybe you just use him as like a utility in PvP to like try to shut down the enemy hypercarry. So this is gonna be 20% attack decrease and 40 haste decrease. It's very similar to Bonnie's debuff. I think Bonnie's debuff at maximum is almost the same. But like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe you could somehow use NERION and Bonnie together to like double dip on the debuffs on the enemy in the back, basically making them really hit like you know, as little damage as possible. And this is instant from the beginning of the battle, but there is a cast time involved in it. I don't know if it's interruptible by an enemy Mihira, which like Bonnie's is, or like an enemy Sylvina jumping on him, because that was the issue with Bonnie. And that's why Bonnie is a little bit worse now that Mihira is out, because Mihira can counter those Bonnie. But basically, this is the thing about NERION. And this will take 50% attack multiplied damage every time they've been under control effects for 0.5 seconds. So now here's the interesting thing. He has more damage and is going to be ticking every 0.5 seconds while they're under control effects. So for AFK stages, again, if you have Sylvan, if you have NERION, and you're going to perma CC the enemy team, perma crowd control them, they're just going to be taking this extra damage, and it's going to go up to 70% at maximum exclusive equipment. But the problem is, again, it's not true damage. It's not HP loss damage. It's just regular old magic damage. Now, one thing that's actually coming to mind is Eevee, because Eevee has a magical defense shred of a pretty high amount. So like, if NERION, his multipliers are pretty good, but he just deals magical damage, he needs a defense shredder. So like, Eevee as well comes to mind. But like, I don't know. This is such a theoretical concept. Eevee already has problems in AFK stages right now. She's not good enough on her own. With NERION, I don't know, like Eevee, Sylvan, NERION, I can see it in a team, definitely, like a Lightbearer team squad, and have twins there as well or something. But yeah, it is still, this is very theoretical. It's just an idea. Now, and also, I don't like the fact he has no true damage or HP loss damage. It's nice for him to be a standalone hero, but he's not. He's gonna need, like, if you don't have defense shred, I don't know. And then level 3, whenever NERION applies a drowning effect, he immediately gains a permanent Tidal shield equal to 600% attack. Now this is interesting, especially for PvP. Now he has some survival, and this is decent. 600% of his own attack. That's going to be around about 60 to 70% of his health shield when he applies drowning effect. And you guys know, right from the beginning of the battle, he applies a drowning effect onto one enemy, and then after the crowd control for a specific time, he is going to reapply, I guess, this shield. Yeah, and I don't know if it can stack. Like, you know, if he drowns a second enemy, is it going to add on top of this? Like, and his shield going to be even more crazy? But yeah, for PvP, this survival is now interesting. Guaranteed to get like a 600% attack shield right from the beginning with his first drowning onto the enemy, and then hopefully more after you crowd control enemies. The shield takes 60% less damage from magic attacks. Again, he has some bias against magic damage dealing enemies. Not only does he drown them faster, but he reduces the damage that they can deal to his shield. But keep in mind, again, shields are not the strongest form of basically tankiness in PvP, because true damage, HP loss damage, bypass the shield. They will not even look at the shield. They're going right for your HP bar, right? Your green HP bar. So yeah, I don't know, a bit of survival, but like, I don't know, guys. Like, the crowd control meta is not here anymore. You have All Night giving unaffected, Gunner giving steadfast, and I think that basically counters this crowd control, whatever you're going to try to plan. I don't know. And all, yeah, it's just, honestly, I think that I really have to wait and see about NERION, because like it's hard to predict him, because even though his kit is pretty interesting, it's like crowd control is just not it for PvP right now. And then yeah, and then AFK stages, just no HP loss damage, no true damage. That's a real pain. Okay, finally, Enhanced Force Supreme Plus skill. When all non-summon enemies on the battlefield are under the drowning effect, basically when he applies it onto all enemies, if they're being crowd control, or if a total of 4 non-summon enemies have been affected by it. Now again, we have a problem. For looking at PvP, and you have like, you know, Allah protecting another ally being unaffected, then you can, there are only 3 other enemies to target that he can drown. So he's not going to be able to get the 4 needed for required enemies to be affected. But anyway, if he can get this effect off, then NERION will immediately gain 1000 energy and becomes permanently empowered by the force of the tide. While permanently empowered, NERION gains 30 extra penetration if he has more than 800 energy. But that doesn't make any sense, because like he's going to cast his ultimate and he's going to go back down to 0 energy, right? And like, so you only got 30 extra penetration for like between 800 and 1000 energy, and then you cast and then it goes away. And also 30, yeah, so 30 penetration will help with his magical, because all of his damage is magical. It's just raw magical damage. It needs either penetration, it needs a magical defense shred on the enemies, so it can help. But like the problem is, as soon as he casts his ultimate, I'm assuming that this is going to go away, this penetration. But immediately gaining 1000 energy is interesting, because like in PvP or even AFK stages, you can crowd control them for the first 4 to 6 seconds of the match, and then NERION will immediately be able to cast his ultimate 6 seconds in. Not bad, but like it just feels kind of weird, because he already has 400 initial energy, and like he's going to be gaining 1000. Like by the time he gains it, like 6 seconds in the battle, he's probably already going to be at 700 or 800. Or maybe 650, 700 energy, and then like you're gonna gain 1000, but like that is you just need 300. Like, you know, it's just kind of like a waste of it seems like. But anyway, yeah guys, that's gonna be it about NERION. I think that his kit is leaning towards AFK stages, if his damage can somehow be enough. His multipliers are nice, but they're just raw magical damage. They're not true damage, they're not HP loss damage, and as of right now, there's not, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there's not any dedicated damage for AFK stages that doesn't have true damage and HP loss. So I find it unlikely NERION is going to be the first of his kind. He has some decent crowd control for grouped up enemies. Not bad, but like not enough for chain crowd control on his own. So it's not like he's going to replace Sylvan or Tidal in a comp. There's no way. And then he has Drowning, which is a decent debuff, but nothing amazing again. And like in AFK stages, this debuff is not enough that you still will rely on crowd control. Basically, if the enemy takes a move and you even have this debuff on them, it's not going to protect you. You're still going to die. Your team's going to get wiped out. And then you have this one. Yeah, I mean, and for PvP, just like I said, I think crowd control is not in the meta right now for PvP. If there's going to be somehow a way in the future, like another hero gets released that somehow can bypass unaffected and crowd control even unaffected enemies, yeah, then we can be talking about NERION. But until something like that happens, I just think there are too many heroes or too many team comps which are basically using unaffected heroes. Even like Callan is unaffected right from the beginning of battle. You have the Ulna protecting another ally. You have Ludovic unaffected at the beginning of the battle. Like, I mean, a lot of heroes, which you see a lot in PvP, they kind of like are already countering what a NERION comp will have to do in PvP. So anyway, guys, overall, I am thinking NERION as a skip. However, of course, I could be wrong. It's a hero that I think definitely will need to be tested and practiced to see for sure what is his value for AFK stages and PvP. So we'll watch out for that. And hopefully we can get a more definitive answer, yeah, in a couple of weeks, or like, you know, in some due time, right? But yeah, let me know your thoughts about NERION in the comment section down below. Is there anything else I missed, or anything else you're thinking which is important that I didn't really talk about? Let me know. Thank you guys all so much for watching. That's gonna be it for this video. And if you think about making a purchase in AFK Journey, please use my affiliate link for the official Farlight store. This is the best way you can support me and also gain 5% bonus dragon crystals on your purchase. My affiliate link is in the description of this video in a pinned comment, and you can actually bookmark this link in your browser, and whenever you're planning to make a purchase, just return to the bookmark link and make your purchase. It will support me and be greatly appreciated. So thanks for watching. I'll hopefully see you in the next video, and until then, everyone, peace out for now.